Yeah.
So I feel then then there's a targeted ad specifically curated for you. And I think there's meta thing also going on with the EU where they are trying to implement a policy where they can have a free option to the users to block targeted ads. What do you guys think? How government or regulations can help us with this?
Yeah.
Avoid targeted ads.
So
We don't
I
need to shut down notifications. They'll
Right.
only not do it.
Meta's 98% revenue comes from advertising, right? If you just see in the last year or last to last year, when Apple introduced a new iOS update, which gave app us as users an option to stop tracking, right? They faced a lot of issues, and there was an entire hoo-ha at Meta and Google because within one update, a million iPhones could stop the tracking, which is the bread and butter for these brands. So these smaller things can be done, but for a company whose 99% revenue, right, is based on advertising, even Google, right, 80, I mean, I'm not sure the final statistics, but I'm sure it's plus 80% revenue is based on advertising. So if probably I would rather, if I talk from Meta's side or Google's side, maybe having a paid tier where I don't see ads at all is something that they could dabble with. But regulation forcing them not to show targeted ads, or if there's an easy option not to to switch off the targeting, it'll not probably work for them in the long run. I mean, these companies will shut shop if we do this. There's so much of shareholder value which is associated with them. The government cannot even let that sink, because if today the EU passes an order that Meta or Google is not allowed to target ads, for example, their shares are gonna tank.
Yeah.
So it's also another perspective as to how they do it in a strategic way or over a period of time, which also gives these companies to identify newer avenue streams.
Especially in India, which is one of the biggest markets. Like we use WhatsApp a lot. Like people have transitioned from iMessage or SMS to WhatsApp. Whereas in a lot of the other countries, including the United States, the WhatsApp percentage of population using WhatsApp is much lower. Similarly with Facebook and Instagram, and the way we're just addicted to these three apps in particular in our daily lives is a big concern as well.
I mean, they know everything about us. I think they know much more than what our parents know about us at this point of time.
The good part in India, Abhi, at least, is कि, people are moving from becoming entrepreneurs on a small scale to large scale companies. Like entrepreneurship was always there in India, but it was limited to, your area, a small store, a mom and pop store and everything. But now people are targeting pan India and exporting more than anything. Now India is, really, so that's really good for Indian homegrown brands to be there, and our reliance on multinational brands who can basically, sell us anything because we're dependent on them going down now.